video, we are going to talk about object-oriented programming concepts and how can we implement them by using C# programming language. We'll also discuss object-oriented concepts with some real-life examples. So this is going to be very easy and interesting. So let's start with a simple question. What is object-oriented programming? If we have to define object-oriented programming, we can define it like this. It is a method of programming where code is designed and based on functions and attributes of the objects. Do not worry. At the end of this video, you will be able to understand this definition. First, let us take an example. A bank account holder withdraws money from an ATM. These are the steps he must follow in order to withdraw money from ATM. Insert card, enter the PIN, enter amount, withdraw cash, withdraw card. If we have to write a code from this scenario in structured programming, how can we write it? Basically, in structured programming, we can see modules and structures. So in our example, we can identify modules like withdraw money, deposit money, open account, and so on. Keep remember that these modules can talk to each other and work in a coordinating manner with the help of some functions and arguments. For a developer, updating this kind of a code would become more easier. Assume that there is any change in deposit money module. He will only have to change that particular module and no need to worry about other modules. At the same time, if there is a new action is added to the scenario like cancel account, we can simply create a module and that module can talk with existing modules. Hope you got the point. Basically, structured programming works on actions. Let's take an example again. A person opens account with a bank and deposits money and uses his credit card to withdraw money from ATM. Let me tell the example again. Let's take an example like this. A person opens account with a bank and deposits money and uses his credit card to withdraw money from ATM. Can you guess what are the actions can be seen here? Actually, there are 3 actions. Opens account, deposit money, and withdraw money. As we discussed earlier in structured programming, we create modules based on actions. So we can have modules for each action. So there you can identify 3 modules. Open account module, deposit money module, and withdraw money module. There are separate modules or structures. Languages like C, Pascal has used this programming method, structured programming. Okay, with the evolution of programming languages, developers felt that structured programming is not that much suitable for large applications. Small or mid-level applications, it would be better. So after some time period, the concept called object-oriented programming has introduced. Like previous example in object-oriented programming, here we don't work on actions. Instead of actions, we are dealing with classes and objects. You can understand a class is a blueprint. If you want to create a house, first you must create a single template. By using that template, you can create any number of houses. We can apply this concept to object-oriented programming. A class is a template. By using this template, we can create multiple objects. In object-oriented programming, you will find that it depicts real-life entities in the form of objects, and these objects are created using classes. Let's talk it more deeply so you can understand it more. Think about previous example. An account holder withdraws money from his bank account using credit card. In structured programming, we talk about actions. But in object-oriented programming, we are not working with actions. Instead of that, we are working with entities or simply nouns. Okay, let's identify what are the entities or nouns in our scenario. An account holder withdraws money from his bank account using credit card. That is the scenario. So can you identify what are the entities or nouns? Account holder, bank account, credit card. Those are the three nouns we can identify in the scenario. So for each and every entity, we create separate class. Class for account holder, class for bank account, class for credit card. Imagine an account holder in real life. For example, Anne, Kamala and Tom are three bank account holders we can see in real life. What are the different attributes an account holder can have? He or she can have attributes like name, age, date of birth, address and so on. Likewise, there are some actions that a particular account holder can do. We can identify them as functions. For example, deposit money, withdraw money, transfer funds. Those are the actions that a particular account holder can do. Now, in object-oriented programming, we will create a class which will have the same attributes and the same functions. So we can have a class called account holder. Here we can see the attributes name, age, date of birth, address and some functions like deposit money, withdraw money and so on. Let's take like this. In object-oriented programming, for a one single class, we can create multiple objects. Now we have three classes in our scenario: class account holder, class bank account, and the last one, class credit card. By using bank account class, we can create multiple bank accounts, and by using account holder class, we can create multiple account holders, and by using credit card class, we can create multiple credit cards. I think now we can understand the definition better than earlier. The object-oriented programming is based on the functions and attributes of the objects. So what is an object? Object can be an entity that has state and behavior. For example, pen, chair, table, mouse, and so on. And what is a class? Now we can identify a class as collection of objects. Hereafter, we will discuss about basic object-oriented programming concepts. Polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation, and inheritance. Let's go through one by one. Inheritance. In real world, we have received features and behaviors of our parents. In another way, we are inherited from our parents. Same way, if one object acquires all the properties and behaviors of parent object, we can identify it as inheritance. We call base class to the parent object and derived class to the child object. This provides code reusability. Later on you can understand it deeply. So what is polymorphism? When one task is performed by different ways, it is known as polymorphism. Polymorphism means having many forms. Let's take a real world example. Here you can see a boy. He is playing different roles in different places. In shopping malls, he behaves like a customer. In bus, he behaves like a passenger. In school, he behaves like a student. And home, he behaves like a son. The third concept, abstraction. Hiding internal details and showing functionality. For example, take a phone call. We don't know the internal processing. Motorcycle is a good real world example. No point to know its internal parts and all. The last concept, encapsulation. Binding or wrapping code and data together into single unit is known as encapsulation. For example, we can take the capsule. It is wrapped with different medicines. So far, we have learned all the concepts in object-oriented programming. Let's take a look at how can we apply those concepts in C# programming language using Visual Studio. First, we'll take polymorphism. The word polymorphism means having many forms. Polymorphism can be static or dynamic. Okay, can you guess the output of the following code? Here, it is using print function to print different data types. We have created a class called print data, class print data. And we have 3 print methods. For each print method, we are passing different data types, integer, double, and string. This 0 is the string placeholder we are using in C#. Then go to the main method. Here you can see we have created a class object by using print data class. And we have called print methods through the object we created here. So let's run the code and see the output. Hope you can see the output. To the first print method, we passed integer value 5, and for the second print method, we passed a floating value, and for the third print method, we passed a string value. Next, let's see how we can implement the inheritance concept with C# programming language. Here we have the base class and the derived class. Shape is the base class and rectangle is the derived class. In the shape class, we have created two methods, setWidth and setHeight. In the derived class, we have getArea method. You can see there getArea method. So we can use the variables of the base class. Here it returns the area. And another rectangle tester class is there. Go to the main method. In the main method, we are creating an object from the derived class. Here we have created an object from the derived class. And we are calling setWidth and the setHeight functions through this object. Here we are printing the area. Okay, let's execute the code and see what will be the output. It's 35. Since we pass 5 for the setWidth function and 7 for the setHeight function, we are getting 35 as the output. Abstraction is one of the principles of object-oriented programming. Let's take a look at how can we implement abstraction with using C# programming language. To implement abstraction, let's take an example of a car. To drive a car, what kind of things a car rider should know before he starts a car riding? Name of the car, color of the car, steering, rear view mirror, brakes, gear. Those things he must know in order to drive a car. And internal things like car engine, diesel engine, exhaust system, silencer are not compulsory to know in order to drive a car. Now let me show you how to put this scenario in the coding style using C# programming language. Now I have created the class called car. As you can see in this code that necessary methods and properties exposed by using public access modifier and unnecessary methods and properties hidden by using private access modifier. For example, steering method is a necessary. This steering method is a necessary method, so we can use private access modifier. And internal details of car is a necessary method, so we have used private access modifier. Let's create an object from the car class. Okay, you can see that I created an object obj car from car class. You can see that successfully we have exposed necessary methods and properties to outside the world or class. This is how we implement abstraction, or we can achieve abstraction in our code or application. Okay, this is the end of our tutorial. Thanks for watching. We hope you learned something. Enjoy coding.